It's time for the 2023 Gen Con preview video. As always, each year we make this video to show off what games we think are going to be hot this year, what companies make them, and if you're interested, where to find their booths. But of course, this is just a small taste of what Gen Con has to offer. There are plenty of different games to buy, demo, prototypes to try out, and of course, different events. So if there's something you feel that I should have added onto this list, please feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. But without further ado, let's see what games I've picked out for you. Now, usually for these videos, we list the companies alphabetically. This way, we're just going by the alphabet. We're not ranking them in our own personal way. But this video, I decided I wanted to try something a little bit different. Instead of going by the company names, I'm going to go in the order of their booth number in the exhibition hall. This way, if you use it to plan your attack when it comes to the exhibition hall, we're basically going from left to right, making it much easier to find these companies and list them in a way that gives you maybe a more direct path. And let me know if you like this way of sorting through the companies, or if I should go back to the alphabetical method in future years. This means that starting off the list this time is going to be Pandasaurus, who I'm sure are much happier to be higher up on the list. Now, they've got plenty of games for you to check out, but here are three that I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see. First is After Us. The theme of After Us is that humanity has disappeared, but luckily intelligence still remains with the apes that have remained. You will run a group of these apes using not only resources, but also deck building skills in order to prove your group of apes are strongest together than the rest. There are many different apes for you to recruit, each with their own unique abilities, as well as plenty of old artifacts for you to take advantage of left behind from the humans. Another game from Pandasaurus is Emerge. This game is all about watching an island slowly grow from the ocean and watching the environment grow around said island. You will play a scientist researching this new discovery and slowly watching as the board grows into the island emerging from the ocean. Then we have Sea Salt and Pepper. This is a hand management game in which you're going to have to push your luck, whether you take more turns to try to get a better hand, or end sooner because you think your hand is good enough for the round. This game did fall under the recommendation for the Spiel des Jahres, not an official nominee, but still good enough to be mentioned and probably one that you may want to check out if you like light card games. Moving on to Bezier, of course, you can pick up any of your Werewolf or Mad King Ludwig needs there, but one that I want to point out is Maglev Maps Volume 1. I extremely enjoyed the original Maglev Metro base, and this, of course, adds new maps, which is probably no surprise to anyone who's ever played a train game, as adding maps seems to be one of the core aspects for any train-based game. That said, if you haven't played the original Maglev, you can watch a review, as well as, of course, just head down to the booth to try out whether they have the base or even some of these new maps available to demo. From there, we move to Brotherwise Games, and this is the company that is well known for Boss Monster, which of course means we've got to look at least something in that family, and for that, we've got Overboss Duel. This is their two-player game set in that world, where you're going to go head-to-head drafting tiles in order to create the greatest map with the most power, while at the same time, of course, sabotaging your opponent. However, they have two games which, to my knowledge, are not part of any other property that they have. First, we have Castles by the Sea. In this game, you play as shorelings, which seem to be very small people. I would say maybe an inch or two tall kind of deal, so even smaller than your average halfling. As shorelings, your goal is to build a sand castle that will survive not only the elements, but the other players as well. And of course, anyone who's ever tried building any sand castles on the beach know that there are plenty of things that can go wrong, especially when the tide comes in. So collect your resources, shore up your defenses, and make sure your castle survives by the end of the game. Going to a bit bigger scale, we've got Empire's End. This is all about playing a civilization not at its height or its growth, but rather at the end of its cycle. Many disasters will be heading your way, such as famines, floods, and barbarians, and you're going to have to balance your bidding on whether you want the items you need or if you're going to take on one of those disasters. Playing carefully, and if you're able to adapt, maybe your civilization can survive and hopefully make it towards that win. Next, we're going to head over to Lucky Duck Games, where there are a few games I believe you should check out. Their newest is Cosmic Octopus, where you'll be gathering tentacles in order to prove your devotion to the great space octopus. I will talk more about this in detail later during Gen Con, as I've been invited to an event all about celebrating this game, so I can tell you more about it then. But we've also got some other games that you can pick up right away at Gen Con. There's already the game I reviewed, My Shelfie, which I highly recommend you demo at least, because it is very cute and fun and something I think many board gamers can relate to as you set, collect, and organize your shelf. Numalia was another really cool game I actually demoed back at PAX Unplugged. It's really small, yet it had a lot of cool, clever decisions. It's one of those games when the scoring effects change per round, meaning that you're not only planning how you're going to score for the round you're in, but how you're going to change up and score better when it comes to later rounds. We now go to AEG, who's usually first or second when it comes to the alphabetical sorting order, but they're still near the top, and they've got plenty to show you. What most people are probably excited about is the Cascadia Landmarks expansion. I know I am. This adds a 5th and 6th player, and of course, more fun ways to use the score and new mechanics for your game. Then there's Fit to Print, a game all about taking tiles to represent news stories. You're going to try to grab those stories before your opponents do, sort them to make the most eye-catching front page, making sure to keep an eye out for whenever breaking news hits the scene. This real-time game does sound a lot of fun, but apparently there's also a puzzle mode, basically giving you your own little solo puzzles to go through and try to complete whatever goals they have for you. And for those of you who liked Point Salad, not just the game, but also just that style of scoring, we now also have Point City. So get ready to build your city and score in a lot of different ways. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the new Smash Up expansion, Excellent Movie Dudes. This one is going to be another one based on actual movie properties, though, as you can guess from the cover, using legally distinct characters. And at Floodgate Games, you can now pick up the new Sagrada Artisans. This is the legacy version of Sagrada, so for those of you who didn't back the Kickstarter, this is a great way for you to grab the game. But keep in mind, that means you also have to carry it back in your luggage. Arcane Wonders has plenty of things, though one of the things I'm curious about, and I'm sure is just going to catch a lot of eyes, is their Call of Duty board game. Now, I don't know what the overlap of fans of Call of Duty versus fans of board games are, but considering how big it is and how much trouble it caused Microsoft when they tried to purchase Activision for Call of Duty, I assume there's at least going to be enough overlap that there's going to be a reasonable crowd trying to demo this. Ares is going to be there, and I'm sure just like last year where War of the Ring was very hot, a lot of people are going to want to pick up the War of the Ring expansion Against the Shadow. But they have other things there too. One at least that's caught my eye is Ensemble, which falls under one of those cooperative games, yet one that you cannot discuss your plans in order to try to work together, in this case, voting on cards that best match the theme in the center of the table. And then we're going to hit the Asmo Days section. This actually will be comprised of multiple lanes and stores, but I decided to group them all up together as just to make sure if you're interested in anything, you just head to that general area and just find what you need. We're going to separate the companies here by alphabetical order, as I'm just putting them all under Asmo Day, starting off with Atomic Mass Games, and they're going to have their new Star Wars miniatures game, Star Wars Shatterpoint. So for all these Star Wars fans out there, I'm sure you're going to want to check that out. And this is also where we'll find Days of Wonder with their new legacy game, Ticket to Ride Legacy Legends of the West. I'm very excited for this legacy game. I really do love Ticket to Ride, and I'm really curious to see what they do here to make it stand out from other legacy games. Eggertspiel will also be there with their Great Western Trail New Zealand. Great Western Trail is a very popular game line, and this is not an expansion for it. This is its own standalone game, and if you couldn't tell from the title, taking place in New Zealand. And then the always beloved Fantasy Flight Games will be there. This time, their big thing you're going to keep an eye out for is their Star Wars Unlimited. This is the new Star Wars trading card game, and as of now, it's only just demos, but Fantasy Flight has been known to make surprise announcements during actual Gen Con hours, so I wouldn't be surprised if they announce that they're selling it or something else special later on, probably during the Saturday of Gen Con. Then Go On Board will be there with The Witcher: The Old World. I've seen a lot of buzz about this on Board Game Geek and the Board Game subreddit, so I assume it's one a lot of people will want to check out. Finally, Libulu will be there with Dixit Disney Edition. I love Dixit. I think it's a lot of fun. And I know a lot of people like Disney, as we'll talk about in a later game. So this is definitely one I think it's an easy stop to check out. After making your way through Asmo Day, you can stop off at the Combo Smirk and Dagger and Smirk and Laughter Games booth. Their game Boop, which technically falls under Smirk and Laughter, has done very well, and apparently they're going to have a demo for a new version, Boop, which is the scary version. However, this one falls under their Smirk and Dagger, so I expect some more shenanigans and treachery in this version of the game. At this point, wandering through the aisles, your eyes will probably be drawn to the Upper Deck booth. Every year I've been at Gen Con, they've gone all out decorating their booth, usually with a theme of whatever game they're promoting then. For example, last year, they were promoting their new Matrix Legendary Encounter set, which they only had there to demo. But this year, you have the chance to buy the set. Based on the recent announcement of the new Legendary Marvel What If core set, I believe that will be the theme this year. Can't guarantee that you'll be able to purchase it or demo it, but it's probably more likely that they'll have something available for you to see game component wise if that is the theme of the booth. Funforge will be there with their new Tokaido Duo, and if you couldn't tell from the title, it's a 2-player focused version of Tokaido. I really do enjoy Tokaido, so I'm definitely excited to try this one out as well. From there, we're going to head over to Restoration Games, where, of course, not only will they have a ton of new Unmatched expansions, many of them with a Marvel theme to them, but also the Thunder Road's Vendetta should be purchasable by there, and if you do like racing games and shenanigans, this is definitely one worth taking a look at. Then Allplay has a game called Sail, which I'm seeing a lot of love for on the Gen Con preview page. This is a cooperative trick-taking game for 2 players. This combination of mechanics makes me very curious to see how this plays and makes it stand out from other trick-taking games. But last year, Cat in the Box was a trick-taking game that I feel was one of the best games of the show, so let's see if Sail can follow suit. Inside Up Games is going to have a much bigger game and also probably a very crowded booth. This is the company that is responsible for Earth, one of the most popular talked about games this year. Fingers crossed that I'll be able to pick up a copy there, but we'll see whether I'm even able to make it before they sell out. From there, we move on to Capstone Games, where you can pick up Age of Innovation. This is set in the world of Terra Mystica, and I think will appeal to the same people who are looking for that very heavy Euro style of gameplay. But if you're looking for something lighter, there are 2 other games you can check out. There's Beer and Bread, which I really hope falls under the beer and pretzel style of gameplay, as well as Wandering Tower, where you're going to be playing around with little towers, moving around, stacking them, and trying to make your way to the legendary Raven's Keep. Then from here, this is where we're going to have a small bit of deviation. There is going to be a booth for Funko Games, but they also usually have a room as well, so you can probably visit either one to check out what they have in store. I assume you'll be able to purchase games at either place, but keep that in mind if any of these sound interesting. They recently announced their new Avatar: The Last Airbender board game, and based on what I can tell, it'll actually be there for sale, so you can pick that up if you're a fan of the Airbender. But of course, they have plenty of other games there for whatever property you love, be it horror movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Scream, or whether any of their new Indiana Jones games you want to pick up, which include the Cryptic line, which not only has an Indiana Jones one, but also a Star Trek Cryptic. The Cryptic games fall more under the escape room style of gameplay, and combining it with 2 very big properties, I'm sure are going to be very popular. Table Tycoon is going to have the new Everdell Farshore game there. This is actually not an expansion, thank God, because I don't think Everdell could take up any more table space. And I assume seems to imply that we're going to have a lot more Everdell-inspired games as we continue to flesh out that world. Then Gamewright has a new addition to the beloved Forbidden line. This time it's Forbidden Jungle. This is definitely one I'm very excited to try out, even if it tended to be more on the simpler side, as Forbidden Island was one of the first games I played, as well as the last one, Forbidden Skies, being one that I had a lot of fun with. At this booth, or even beforehand, you're probably going to be noticing a huge line for this next booth, and that's Ravensburger. That's because this is where Disney's Lorcana will be located. Yes, this is the card game a lot of people are excited about and worried about because of the recent lawsuit, but as of now, you're still going to be able to play and possibly pick up Disney Lorcana there. That all said, there are big quotation marks around pickup, as if you're not one of the first ones in the convention hall, odds are they're going to sell out before you even get there. Plaid Hat Games has 2 new entries to some of their popular lines. First, we have Ashes Reborn Red Rains. Not only does this just add new cards for your deck, but it actually adds a new solo and cooperative mode, so a way for you to work together against the evil Chimera. Then we have Freelancers, which is part of their Crossroad game line series. I've loved everything in this line so far, and I'm really excited to see how this one plays out as well. This one is based more on your classic D&D RPG experience, though I imagine it's going to pull mostly from all the crazy shenanigans that tend to occur in any role-playing game. Here we have another big grouping for Hatchet board games, who, like some of the ones we mentioned before, also have a room, so we'll see how that works out. However, there are plenty of games for you to try out, be it at the booths or if it's in the room. First, we have Tribes of Wind, an interesting post-apocalyptic game in which card management will care about not just the fronts, but the backs of the cards as well. Scorpion's Mask is going to be there with not only Sky Team, the airliner simulation game, but you'll also be able to demo Dead Cells, the very popular indie video game, now in cardboard. Sorry French is going to have the new AEG expansion, Akebono, as well as the game In the Footsteps of Darwin, which at this point I'm sort of surprised, as Darwin is starting to rival Cthulhu and Zombies in terms of their appearance in board games. Then Studio H has the Ultra expansion Undead Alive, as well as more Suspects expansions. If you want to know more about this mystery solving game, I have a review on the first set, which, spoilers, I was pretty positive on. Cosmos will be there with now the English expansion for The Adventures of Robin Hood, Friar Tuck and Danger, as well as plenty of games in their exit line, though I think the big one is actually going to be the new exit advent calendar, The Silent Storm. There's then going to be the My City Roll and Build, as well as a new legacy line in the just My Legacy, I don't know what else you'd call it. This one titled My Island. We played through My City, so I'm curious what My Island has in store to make it stand out from the first one. If you're looking for something heavier, definitely now you can stop on by Board and Dice, where now they'll be showing off Barcelona. I'm sure this will scratch the itch if anyone not only looking for a classic Euro-style gameplay, but also just classic European-style theme. Direwolf is going to have a new game there, Wild Tiled West. While this is not based on a previous property, this does come from Paul Dennen, who has designed beloved games Dune Imperium, as well as Clank, so I'm not shocked that a lot of people are excited to try this one out. From there, we head to Bezier, which seems to have a lot of games people are excited to try out. There's Three Ring Circus. You will play as a circus director trying to make sure your little circus survives at the end of the 19th century. See if you can take on the large Barnum Circus and prove that your circus is still worth visiting. And then we have one that I'm going to probably horribly mispronounce, Jerusalem Anno Domini. This seems to be all about trying to get the closest seat to Jesus during the Last Supper, so really curious how this one's going to pan out, and probably should avoid not taking too much silver along the way. Then we've got Yokai Sketch, which is definitely the kind of game that appeals to more someone like me, who's just excited to see more art of more interesting different creatures, or in this case, yokai. Osprey Games will have their new Undaunted Battle of Britain there. This is a head-to-head game in which you will take on dogfights in the sky, playing through either standalone missions or altogether in a large campaign in order to prove your dominance over the sky. Then another drinking-related game, we've got Distilled at Paverson Games. This one is all going to be about running the company as well as the marketplace for your alcoholic beverage. Manage your resources and push your luck and see if your spirits can rise to the top. Then stop by the City of Games, where they're going to have a Race to the Raft. This is from the same world of Isle of Cats, where this time you're going to be putting down tiles in order to build a path to the raft for the cats to make their way to safety. Speaking of cats, there's also going to be Alley Cat Games there, who's going to have Arborea. This was a Kickstarter a while back, and definitely one that looked really cool, where not only worker placement, but also how the workers move along the tracks they're placed is going to be key to victory. Depending on when you decide to have them return, it can gain you more resources, but also means you don't have access to that worker until you call them back. Those who love Critical Role, I'm definitely going to want to stop by Darrington Press, their board game company, to check out Queen by Midnight, where each player will play as princesses battling for the right of that Midnight Queen title, by, of course, any means necessary. Near the end is going to be Stonemaier Games, which of course will have plenty of different game titles that people are going to probably visit for, be it either for Wingspan or Viviculture, though I think most people are going to stop by there for Scythe Expeditions. This is the new standalone game in the Scythe world, one set after all the experience of the original Scythe game. For those of you more into video games, you probably want to stop by the Glass Cannon Unplugged booth, where not only they're going to have Apex Legends board game demoable, but as well as Frostpunk able to be picked up. Considering they got the right to Apex Legends, maybe Glass Cannon can be the ones who finally bring us Titanfall 3, at least in some form. And finally, only because they don't technically have an Expo Hall booth, rather they always just rent rooms, is Czech Games. Here you can check out their new game, Kutna Hora, The City of Silver, or if you want something in an already pre-established title, there is the new Lost Ruins of Arnak, the Missing Expedition expansion you can pick up. So, plenty of games for you to check out, as well as, of course, plenty I didn't mention that you'll discover on your own at Gen Con. But as we all know, there's always going to be some hot ticket items, the things that everyone lines up for and that tend to sell out within either the first days or first few hours of each day. So I made a list of the things I feel like you should prioritize in case you're interested in, as I feel like these are going to be hot. Though, of course, keep in mind, announcements may come just before or even during Gen Con, as Fantasy Flight likes to do. So make sure you keep an ear to the ground to see if anything surprising pops up that you may be interested in. But what isn't a surprise is what I think is going to be the hottest items at Gen Con, and it's a tie, and I decided it's fair to tie them as they're both TCGs, Star Wars Unlimited and Disney's Lorcana. Lorcana will technically, as of now, be hotter because you can actually purchase it at Gen Con. This will be the first time that you can purchase the game, not including the special promos they had a little while ago. So that's going to be something a lot of people are excited about. I know all the events already sold out. I don't know, to my knowledge, that the same is for buying. So obviously that's going to be a huge line each day. And even if they have enough to last the whole convention, I'll be shocked if it makes it past 2 days. Star Wars, on the other hand, right now is just demos. But as I stated earlier, Fantasy Flight likes to make surprise announcements. So I wouldn't be surprised if during the convention, maybe partway through, they announce that they are going to be selling off their Star Wars products as an actual release there. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they wait for Disney Lorcana to die down a bit so they're not technically fighting them and everyone just sort of shifts over to Star Wars. So keep that in mind. Those two are going to be extremely hot. But in terms of board games, I think one of the biggest ones is going to be the Ticket to Ride Legacy game. This looks really cool. Everyone loved Pandemic Legacy. So Ticket to Ride, which definitely the base version, I think fits well with Pandemic in terms of being a game that more people have played and know. A lot of people are going to be excited to try out this Legacy version. So that's going to be something I think a lot of people are going to want to be able to sit at the table with, and if they're lucky enough, maybe get their hands on. However, there are a couple other things I do want to mention. First, 2 expansions I think are going to be very hot. One for Cascadia, and that will be found at AEG, and one for Arnak, the deck builder, that will be found at Czech Games. Keep in mind, Czech Games tend to get a room, not a booth, so they're going to be a little bit different than where you expect all the other stores. Now, of course, those are expansions for games, so that's going to be more targeted for those who are already excited about the regular versions of those games. There's one other game I've been seeing a lot of people excited for, so if this sounds interesting for you, maybe check it out, and that's Race for the Wrath. This is a cooperative game, and I think can fit also a larger audience, so this is actually be perfect for anyone who wants to find a game maybe for family, or a game night that has just a variety of players with different skill sets, or maybe something you just want a more of a cooperative experience. These are, I think, going to be the biggest things, at least that I know right now, that's going to be sold at Gen Con or at least demoed. So definitely put these higher on your list. But outside of that, there, of course, is plenty of other things. Something else can become surprisingly hot and interesting. So make sure that you listen, find out what's going on, and hopefully you'll be able to snag everything you're hoping to try at Gen Con. I, of course, will be trying to do live stream at the end of each night. That being said, I can't guarantee a schedule right now because I'm scheduling all my meetings with different companies and people, and some of them are doing things late at night. So they may be later or earlier depending on what's going on. As we approach Gen Con, I'll put out a more tentative schedule. So those would be more of me just chatting and talking about what I did. And I'll do more official recorded videos like this once I return from Gen Con and in my own studio. But let me know if there's something you think I missed, whether it's just a cool game or event, or something that you think is actually going to be one of the hottest items at Gen Con. All your comments down below, I can't wait to read them. And if you're at Gen Con, I can't wait to see you. But for now, I'm Will, and this is Roll for Crit.